Hello everybody and welcome to MBA 5600. This is the introduction or introductory finance course for the MBA program here at App, and it's titled Managerial Finance. So for those of you that have been undergraduate business majors or at least had some experience in the business world, some of this may feel somewhat redundant. Again, this is an introductory course. But for those of you that don't have any experience with anything like that, then this is going to cover the broad concepts, or we're going to touch on all the different concepts in finance. Now, the more advanced courses will dig into the things that we cover here in more detail and more depth, but this is where we at least establish the baseline for our understanding of finance. Now, this first video is just going to be an introduction to the class. It's going to be an introduction to my expectations for you from the class and what you should expect from me from the class. So we'll go through the syllabus. We'll talk about all the big stuff, homework, exams, all that. So hopefully it's not going to be a super long video, and you guys will. I won't really expect you to be matching the course until Thursday. So we'll start with just going over the syllabus here. I do have an office. It's in Peacock Hall. So if you ever need to see me or want to talk in person, you can send me an email to set up an appointment. Here's my email right here. You can also just show up at my office hours. I hold office hours for my in-person classes on Wednesdays from 10 to 12 and 1 to 3. But I'm also happy to meet via Zoom. But for Zoom, it's got to be appointment only. So please just send me an email across the board. That's the best way to get a hold of me and the best way to make sure that we can set up a time to meet that works for everybody. Prereqs is pretty basic. You guys are enrolled, so you've met the prereqs. This course is an online asynchronous course, meaning we're not going to have set times. I'm not going to lecture over Zoom specifically. The lectures have all been pre-recorded. They're posted to YouTube and to the As You Learn page, and that way you can watch them at your leisure, exactly as, whatever time fits your schedule. Okay. So I do have a section of this course that is going to meet in person. So if for some reason you feel like you'd rather do that, but you're signed up for the online course, of course, that I have no problem with any of that. Just reach out and we can set something up like that. Okay. Since this is online course, we don't have to talk about the mask policy, but of course, it goes without saying that it's still, Appalachian still requires masks indoors at all times, etc., etc. Okay. There is a text for this course, but I do not require that you have a text, so it's not even like filed with the bookstore or anything. I think textbooks in college are pretty much a racket. I don't like requiring students to buy a $300 textbook that you'll probably never open. This is the textbook that I broadly follow in terms of the structure of the course. I think we're up to like the 14th edition now. There are millions of these. You can buy an old copy if you really like to have the book. Feel free to buy an old copy on Amazon. They're like 20 bucks. You can follow along. The structure of finance hasn't changed in the last 10 years. It hasn't changed in the last 100 years for the most part. So there's not a ton of new material in any of the newer editions. You are certainly welcome to buy one if you like. That being said, there is no requirement. You will not need it. All the material for the homeworks and exams will be covered in the lectures, the slides, and the example problems that we work. You will need a calculator. However, you're going to need a financial calculator to work the problems in this in this class. You'll need to use one on the exam. Now, this is an asynchronous online course, so obviously you also need a computer. You also need a webcam. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So there are some more required things that you need, but the biggest one is that you're going to need a calculator with financial functions. Now, the calculator that I recommend, or the cheapest, is the cheapest one, and that's the TI-BA2 Plus. It is the financial specific calculator from TI. This is not the same thing as the normal scientific calculator that you might already have. Okay, this is a financial calculator. It has specific financial functions. This is the calculator that I teach, and it is the calculator that I have videos recorded showing you how to use. So that being said, there are lots of different financial calculators. There's one from HP. All of the TI graphing calculators have financial functions. So you are welcome to use whatever calculator you want. However, the only one that I really know how to use very well is the TI BA2 Plus. So that's the only one that I can actually provide any help with, although of course there's YouTube videos for everything. And the graphing calculators to some extent. Okay, so what I would encourage is that you get one here at the beginning of the semester and that you continue to use the same calculator throughout the semester. In other words, use the one on the exam that you've been practicing with on the homework. That's the only way that you're going to get good at these. Okay? So you will need a calculator. You'll need one on the exam. The TI BA2 Plus is like 30 bucks, maybe even cheaper, and I'm sure there's tons of used ones out there. So there's nothing crazy. Homework problems are totally assigned. I've built all the homework myself, so it's all coded and provided on As You Learn. So there's no homework system. You don't need a code. You don't need anything else. That's all posted on As You Learn. You'll log in according to the schedule. You'll complete the homework on As You Learn, and you'll submit it on As You Learn. And we'll talk more about that. I'll show you guys what that looks like. Okay. There are additional articles posted onto the As You Learn site, particularly that this is an MBA course. You guys are hopefully at least already involved in the business world in some way, keeping up with the business world in terms of reading financial literature. Something like the Wall Street Journal or Financial Times or whatever is really important. And so I've posted interesting articles, things that I think are relevant to the topics that we're covering at the time. I encourage you guys to read all those. I've posted them as Wall Street Journal links, but also as Word documents in case you don't have a subscription to something like that. But it is something that I encourage, that you keep relevant with the financial world, and the business world is an important part of being a part of it. Okay. The schedule here is that we're going to go over right here is a rough schedule for the class, particularly because this is asynchronous. You guys are welcome to watch these in any way. This is the schedule that I keep for the in-person class. So that's what all these dates are. Now, that being said, the homework due dates and the exam dates are all fixed. So however you want to watch your videos, you need to be keeping up with the material so that you are ready for the things that happen on a fixed date. Right? So we cover roughly one chapter a week in the in-person class, and that is what I will encourage you to do in this as well, is just watch it and treat this as if it was in person. The videos aren't that long. It's almost exactly just a recorded lecture of me. And so that this will help you keep on track. We have about one homework due per chapter, which means about one homework per week. So you'll see that the first week we have an intro, that's this video. Then we'll cover chapter 2, and then you have a homework due the next class period after we cover the chapter. Right? So that first homework is due Tuesday, January 18th. It's due at midnight. I'll talk a little bit more about the homework when we go to the As You Learn page. Then we cover chapter 3, then we cover chapter 5 over a week and have a homework chapter 6, and then we have our first exam. There are 3 exams in the class, right? 1, 2, 3. The exams are not cumulative, so they only cover the material that is covered in between the exams. So the first exam is 2, 3, 5, and 6. The second exam is 8, 7, 9, 10, and 11. The third exam is 12, 13, 14, and 15. Right? The homeworks are relatively short. Expect each homework to take you about 2 hours. There are 2 Excel projects, right? And they are, I have listed on here when they're assigned and then when they're due. And then this one's assigned and this one's due. Okay. So again, the homeworks are all due on the day that they're listed on the syllabus at midnight. The exams all take place on the day that they're listed on the syllabus, and you'll have a full 24-hour period to take that exam at any point that you want. Okay. Spring break does happen here, so it's listed here. You guys obviously don't have to worry about this no class. I have a lecture to give on that day somewhere else, so I won't be in person then, but since this is asynchronous, it's not going to affect it. Again, you're welcome to watch these videos at any time. They're all posted already. All I would do strongly is encourage you to keep up with the schedule. somehow find a way to set your own schedule and keep up. I will personally send out an email once a week at the beginning of every week telling you where we are in this schedule and what you have to do that week to keep up. Right? So I'll send you an email starting right away saying, watch this intro video. By the end of the week, you should have also watched the videos covering Chapter 2. You have a homework due for Chapter 2 next week. And then you'll get another one the next week, and the next week I'll send out reminder emails about the exams, but I won't I'm not going to bombard you with emails, so you're not going to get one every day or anything like that. Okay, let's jump to as you learn.